Robert Batiste, and I will be discussing the disadvantages and workability of my opponent's claim that that return to the previous system will improve education. I'd like to first start off with the workability of my opponent's claim that state common assessments were not flexible. However, states continue, according to the Common Core initiative that's basically built up the Common Core Council of Chief, State, and School Officers, which basically are the ones that made the program. They said that the high standards of Common Core, which is consistent across teachers, parents, actually wrong quote, sorry about that. States continue to have the flexibility and authority to choose the assessments they believe is the best to measure their statewide academic standards. So the states get to choose which standards that they want to implement within the state. And many states have decided to work with other states to develop common assessments that will provide meaningful feedback to parents, teachers, and policymakers to ensure that all students are progressing toward attaining the skills they need to be successful in college, careers, and life. So not only are the states able to adopt standards that they want specific to their state, but they do also collaborate with other states' standards and provide feedback to parents and teachers as well. Also, I would like to go back to refuting my opponent's claim that returning to the previous system will improve education. So, returning to formal education will fail to improve the nation's education. The previous education, I'm sorry. Returning to the previous education will fail to improve the nation's education status as a whole. Because previous education did not provide the same level of cognitive thinking as Common Core did. Also, teachers will cover fewer topics in a year but with greater detail. According to the Council of Chief State Officers, Council of Chief State Schools of Officers. Because basically they'll have less topics, but the topics will run more in depth with what they're going for. Also a quote from the Council of State Chief Officers was that the youngest learners will have guidelines for how to carry on conversation, such as coming to discussion prepared, listening carefully, respectfully to others, take turns speaking, building on each other's conversations, and ask clarifying questions. And this is basically starting at elementary school age, where these kids are developing these conversational skills that they could use in life, which doesn't really happen with previous education, or it hasn't happened yet with previous education. Now I will be discussing the disadvantages of returning to the previous education system. So first of all, it would keep state education standards low, because according to the Council of Chief State School Officers, the high standards of Common Core, which is consistent across states, provides teachers, parents, and students with a set of clear expectations to ensure that all students have the skills and knowledge necessary to succeed in college, career, and life upon graduation from high school, regardless of where they live. And regardless of where they live is very important, because not only do the standards hold up to the same national level, but as of right now, the standards are all different across states. And also, another direct effect of this, according to Professor William H. Leland, he says that after a study done, a student's mathematics learning opportunities related to content coverage are deeply affected by where the student lives. And this is primarily because of funding and whatnot for the schools. And also, this is coming from the Council of Chief State School Officers, is that Common Core would improve the education of students nationwide and help U.S. reach top global rankings. Which brings me to my indirect effects of the proposition, of my opponent's proposition. So, the U.S. is falling behind in education. According to the index, according to the index of global ranking, the United States now ranks 14th in education according to group of results from global datasets such as PISA, TIMSS, and PRIRLS. These global datasets interpret their results by taking data from literacy and graduation rates from each individual country. Those countries that are ahead have more standardized education systems, so they have more standardized educational standards that each student has to meet. And this is part of the reason why the U.S. is falling behind, because we're just everywhere with the previous education system. The standards are different in each state, and it's really hard to compare those two. And also, according to Professor William H. Leland, he says that U.S. students are exposed to a less difficult school mathematics curriculum that places them at a disadvantage when compared to the students in many other countries around the world. So obviously, the other countries around the world are improving their mathematics skills and have higher mathematics standards that they hold to their students. And also, according to Director of Education at Harvard University, Dr. Martin West says that the rapidly shifting landscape of higher education threatens the United States' continued dominance in strategically important fields such as science and technology. And let me remind you that Common Core, as of right now, does not cover science and technology, but with this system implemented, within a matter of years, they can develop Common Core for science and technology, which will help improve the nation as a whole. So as of right now, Common Core is only focused on English and math. And also, according to another ranking, is that math scores of students in Shanghai show that they are the equivalent of over 2 years of formal schooling ahead of those observed in Massachusetts, in itself a strong performing U.S. state. So one of the best, possibly educationally high standards in the state, in the U.S. It's still not comparable to those in other countries such as Shanghai. And I would like to conclude with the impact that new teaching techniques and higher educational standards are less expensive, and they do increase the rigor for a CCS student. They do increase the rigor for Common Core state standards, where they transfer more knowledge of evidence learning to students as risk-taking, authenticity of lessons, vertical planning, and learning with increasingly scaffolding and prompting and differentiated instruction, so all learners get it. So with my affirmative solvency claim, all of this will not happen, and the disadvantages are immense.